The 1980s oil glut was a serious surplus of crude oil caused by falling demand following the 1970s energy crisis. The world price of oil, which had peaked in 1980 at over US $35 per barrel, $101 per barrel today, fell in 1986 from $27 to below $10, $58 to $22 today. The glut began in the early 1980s as a result of slowed economic activity in industrial countries, due to the crises of the 1970s, especially in 1973 and 1979, and the energy conservation spurred by high fuel prices. The inflation-adjusted real 2004 dollar value of oil fell from an average of $78.20 in 1981 to an average of $26.80 per barrel in 1986. Is Here and Time magazine stated, "The world temporarily floats in a glut of oil," though the next week an article in the New York Times warned that the word glut was misleading, and that in reality, while temporary surpluses had brought down prices somewhat, prices were still well above pre-energy crisis levels. This sentiment was echoed in November 1981, when the CEO of Exxon Corp also characterized the glut as a temporary surplus, and that the word glut was an example of our American penchant for exaggerated language. In the United States, Europe, and Japan, oil consumption had fallen 13% from 1979 to 1981, due to in part, in reaction to the very large increases in oil prices by the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries and other oil exporters, continuing a trend begun during the 1973 price increases. After 1980, reduced demand and increased production produced a glut on the world market. The result was a 6-year decline in the price of oil, which culminated by plunging more than half in 1986 alone.